So back to code with Gabriel section. Under this module, we are going to be talking about CSS responsive. It is very important to build a website that is very responsive. That is one of the reigning what is reigning in the market now. A developer that is able to build a responsive website, we have higher chance of earning a lot of amount of money. Let's go ahead and dive right in. This section is just going to take us through some varieties of codes, because we are going to write a lot of codes in this section, because I'm going to create a template. Then from the templates, I'm going to create a framework. Then we'll be using the framework within our website. So let's just go ahead and go ahead and create the template. So the first one, I want to have a div. I'm giving this a class of nav bar. So this is our navigation bar, and everything right here I want to put in a class of a container. So this is just going to be our class of container. Don't actually be confused with this method I want to use. As a matter of fact, instead of using just div, this class of container, this is just going to be a division, and each of the division is going to have a section, their own section. So instead of using div, I'm just going to change this guy to section. So this is just doing nothing. It's doing the same work as what the div is doing, but just making us to know that this is what we are doing at this particular scope. So I want to have the nav bar, which is going to be the menu. I want to have probably two box. I want to have a text right on the left, then a box right on the right. So let me just initiate a section. I'm going to click class of main content. So like that, it's just our main content. After the header, we have the main content, and in between the main content, I want to have some divisions with a class of text and a division with a class of box. This is not actually difficult the way it seems. It just takes a lot of patience to understand this. And lastly, I want to have a section. I'm going to do a class of footer, and right inside I'm going to have my footer tag. So this is just going to be footer. So let's go ahead and fire up this title CSS. I'm going to go ahead and clear all this off. Good. And start to design this, because if we view this in the browser, this is just an empty browser, the empty website. So this is it. So the first thing to do is to pick up all the tags and give it a box sizing of border box. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to pick up the body and give it a margin. I want to give it a margin of auto and a width of 100%, because I actually want this to flow out the whole page like that. So we can then go back to our HTML code to begin to select this guy one by one in order to give it a better design. So the first one we are going to select is this, our class of container. So class of container. So what do we want to do to this class? The first thing we want to do to this class, we want to have it the padding to be 0, the margin to be 0. Then we want to give it a display of flex. That's the kind of display that we want to give it, a display of flex. Then we want to go ahead and do some other attribute like height of auto and width of 100%. So this is just like a wrapper. So it's like a wrapper. Some people usually call it a wrapper, so I decided to change it to container. That is due to Bootstrap format. So it's like a wrapper, which is the container for all the contents that we are going to have in our page. So these are all the contents we are having in our page, and this div is the container that contains them all. So to be able to deal with them and look at them, that okay, after the body only gave birth to one tag, and that was the container. Then the container owns all these guys. So let's go ahead and start manipulating this section. So this is a template, not really building the website from scratch like that. So div with the class of container and a section with the class of navbar. Let me see. I think that's the name, navbar. Good. So navbar stands for navigation bar. Please don't forget. The first thing to do is to give it a background color, and now we need to let our website be really teamy. So I'm going to use RGB. I'm just going to specify any random color and use Visual Studio Code to select the kind of color that I want. So I know deep down I want something blue that is not really deep and too light, a very good blue. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do the height. So the height of this one should not be more than 300 pixels, and the width also it should be also be able to flow throughout the whole page of 100%. So let's check this out. So this is all we got, and this is actually where I want. So the height is too much, so I can bring it out to 100, cause either height, the 100 is also too much. Let's bring it out to 60 for Christ's sake. 60 should be good. Okay, this is alright. Let me bring this to a full screen. I'm using like that. This is alright, all good. So we can now allow it to have a margin of 0 and a padding from inside of 0. We can still come back to do this again, but not really important for now, since we are just building the template of how our website is going to look like. So deal with the class of container and section with a class of main content, I guess. So this is our main content. So we have section of main content. So this is main content. That's not bad. Good. So let's go ahead and implement this guy. So what we want to have to guy is similar to this. So I'm just going to copy all this. I'm going to paste it right here. But the difference that is going to be there is that this guy is going to have a display of flex. A display of flex allow item to be placed in a row instead of being in a column. So the default value is for item to be here, there another one in the bottom, another one in the bottom. So for them to flow throughout the whole page in a vertical form, so I have to be item 1, item 2, item 3, item 4 to the end. Okay, let's just go ahead and implement this. So display of flex, margin of 2, parent of 2. So we need to change this color because we have used this background before. Then we need to give it something else. All right, this is super. Okay, the reason why this is actually doing this, why the two of them is putting themselves in their in a row form, in a vertical form, is because their parent, which is the container, has a display of flex, a width of 100%. Both of them is actually sharing this width, and that is why they are being displayed like that. So we need to set something like a width of 100%. Okay, let's see this. I think there is something called a flex flow. A flex flow can be column reverse, now wrap, row reverse. So if you actually wanted it to be column alone, it can be column. If it should be row alone, it can be row. So let's just select column. So we all know what is going to happen when we select column. So the display is going to be in a column form. So we have 1, we have 2. So if I'm to choose row, if I am to just select row, don't be mad with the noise, please. If you want me to record this video again, I will surely do in the night. In fact, I'm going to record this again, but I'm just going to give you this video out for you to learn what you're supposed to learn. Then I'm going to refresh this, try to record. So the row is the default value, and we need the column, not the row. So they are displaying column now, so it's too good. So display of flex, so we want the flex flow of this guy also to be in a row. So this one is going to be in a row, not really in our not really in the column. So this is nice now. So this is our container. Let's go ahead and move to the last section, which is the footer. So we need a div with a class of container and a section with a class of footer. So footer like that. What we are meant to do here, it's similar to this guy, except what we are doing right here is column. Or we can it be flex? Let's just make it column, just one like that. so that it's going to be a container within container. Okay, let me look at something dark. All right, this is okay. Okay, this is just a little whack chunk template. So footer usually bigger than the rest of them, so you can decide to give it 200 or 300 pixels, any one of that. That's based on your choice. And the main is going to be a lot bigger, lot bigger. So I'm going to give it 200 too. All right, so we're having our templates now. So to actually, we've set up the header template, the main, then the footer template too. So the main template actually contains some other divisions like text and box. Let's just go ahead and create that one now. So all we have to do is just come down immediately after the main content. Then we'll pick this up like div with a class of container, and section with the class of main content. Then we are still going like div with a class of text. That's really long, but it's good to keep them in track. So what we are doing also, it's similar to this, except we are not just going to give them a width of 100%. So this is all the first thing we are going doing. So div with a class of text, this is going to be div with a class of box. I think we have two text and a box. Okay, so let's just manipulate this color. I prefer something nice, something really awesome. Okay, good. You see, I really know how to select color, a lot. I know how to do my color mixture, so I mastered it, how to use, even though I don't know the values of it, but I try my possible best to make sure that I know how to select a very good and brilliant color using this little box provided for me. Okay, so what do we have now? This is what we have. So we have this guy. So we have the 50%, 50%, 50%. Then that's up. That's what we have. So another thing I noticed is that the total width of this container, which is their parent, is 100. So the child should be 50-50 instead of taking 100 on 100. Should be 50. Let me refresh this. So it's still working the same way. Let me try mechanism to comment this out. So it's still working the same way. Let me try 100. I know the reason why I'm doing this, just in case probably sometimes I don't want it to just display like that. Okay, this is not bad. So let's bring this up again. Probably obviously we don't want to specify 100. This is just some kind of 50, and this is also some kind of 50. All right, that's good. And the height too, we need to specify their height. The height is too small, so they need to maintain the total height of their parent, which is 200. This is also 200 now. All right, so templates actually works fine. So this is where the template is. This is our header. This is some kind of a text box. This is a box, and this is the footer, right? We are going to be initiating right here. So to get this thing actually fixed up, we need to check the responsibility. If you want to check the responsibility, you can check the F12. Just press the F12 on the keyboard, and you are going to see a responsive here. Then you can select any kind of phone, any kind of platform this is going to run on, and you can see this our website template is just actually looking the same way on each kind of phones. If I'm using iPhone 7, iPhone 6, 7, 8, so it's looking the same way. If I'm using iPhone X, the same way. If I'm using maybe Nokia Lumia, it's still looking the same way, and that is because that is how we designed the template. So if I go back to the responsive, then I can begin to drag it, expand it, drag it, expand it, and you're going to realize that each of these boxes is actually looking fine, and none of them is messing up or or leaving the space, and this is called a static web page. We need to really go ahead and make this responsive at first and foremost. So let's go ahead and build a real life website. So instead of just making it a template, we can go ahead and build our website. Or let me just go ahead and make these templates responsive, or which one? I wish you should be able to reply me right now. It's okay. So let me just go ahead and make this template responsive, so you can see. Then from templates we are going to turn it or change it to a real life website. So this is what we are doing at foremost. So right down here, my what's it called, my style of coding is just to go ahead and create a new file right here and call it responsive.css. Then go to the index page where the same way I link to the style sheets, and I prefer it to be style sheets and href, and I go by css slash responsive.css. And this is very useful in some scenario, because when I'm having issue within my responsive, I'm just going to handle it inside the responsive file rather than manipulating the old style.css, where I can mistakenly tamper with some style, and I don't want to do that right now. Okay, so to actually go ahead and use responsive in CSM, we need the art keyword. So it just like art like this. We have art keyframe like that. So this is very common. Art keyframe, then followed by the name of the animations, then the screen. So let me just use name followed by the name of the, sorry, am I talking about animation? I think I'm talking about responsive, followed by the name. Sorry, it's not at Kim, it's at media. Sorry, at media. So which media means the screen, your website that you are using. So followed by the screen that we want to use, or let me call it device, followed by, this is just the syntax, followed by the device. Then from the device, then the query, followed by the query of the screen that we actually want to go ahead and implement, followed by the query. Then right here we can select the elements that we want to design, the new design. So elements, then in between the element we can specify the new design that we want. This might actually be starts looking really difficult, but it's not as difficult as you think it is. So look at this in this way now. What I'm actually doing right here is just using the art media query, then select the device, then do my query, then go ahead and pick up the elements and give it the new design. So don't mind me for using the keyframe. I thought this was still about animation class. Okay, so let me just go ahead. So well, the first thing I use the art keyframe at median query, sorry. So we are going to specify which one. At media screen, we can use media screen, or we can say only screen, or we can just put it like screen, sorry, my god, screen only, like this. Then in the brackets you can say maximum width when it's actually greater than 600 pixels. Then I want to initiate this kind of design. So at media screen only, sorry, and so we need the and query and maximum screen. This is actually showing some box right here. At media screen only, is it only screen or screen? Okay, I actually misplaced the query itself. So let's just check this query together. At media only on screen mode. So this is what we are dealing with, only on the screen mode, the scale mode, and this is where the usefulness of this guy comes in. This content that we usually put where we start writing code, content width is equals to device width, initial scale equals to 1.0. This is where the usefulness comes in, because this is actually communicating to the query that we set up right here. So this one, it's setting the screen width or the initial scale of a screen due to the device that we are running on. So and this one is actually capturing the screen that we are working on. So okay, whatsoever the screen is, once it's actually reach the maximum size, sorry, maximum width of 600 pixels, so go ahead and initiate a particular design. And this is the first design that I wanted to do. So I'm just going to give class of nav bar as an example, and change the background color to something like red to see how this one is going to. Let's just press F4. Allow me to duplicate this screen. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to just bring it back up, bring this up. Then this one is going to be the guide that we are going to use for responsive, and this is going to be the normal page. So if we continue to move like this, you're going to realize that we are not actually having, let me bring this up. I want to make sure at media screen and maximum width of 600 pixels, div with the class of navbar. Is it a div? It's not a div. Let's check it. Is it a div or a section? Sorry, that's my bad. It's a section. Okay, too good. That's not too bad. So what we are doing is that at median query, when the maximum screen is actually, go ahead, we have 600 pixels upward, give this section of navigation bar. I want to make sure I specify this rightly. Okay, this class of nav bar should have a background color of red. So I'm expecting it to go ahead and implement this query, but it's not. Let's check minimum width. So minimum width, it's not. Probably I'm having some bugs within this code. Probably I'm not just doing it rightly. Let's check this out. Section with the class of nav bar. Let's see, class of navigation bar. Okay, section with the class of nav bar container. Do we do the link? And that is link which is a first side of CSS, and we link to a responsive.css. Okay, let me just see how I can fix this guy. So at media screen, only screen, let's check this. Maybe I should remove only, so screen should work better. It's still not working. What's this up? Is it the browser, or I'm not doing this right? At media screen and the minimum width. Okay, this is good. It's 600 pixels. Section, is he expecting me to pick up this tag like this, like in this format? Let's just try it. Like div the class of container. Oh my god, I'm right there. Div dot container. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is weird right now. So it's actually expecting me to include div dot container, then having section of nav bar, and before it can actually works. Okay, so to check this code right now, I use minimum. So let me just change this one to max. And that is why it's good to go ahead and select element. I've never done that before. I don't know why I actually did this. I've not done it before. I usually, all my codes, I start from the parent then to the child, because I know there are some lot of complicated issue right there. So if you study the flow of this sequence, and I say maximum width of 600 pixels, and by looking at this radar, we can go ahead and know the kind of screen that we have while I'm trying to string this up. So I'm in 695. You are going to realize that this background color of red is not yet displayed while I'm on screen of 600 and something, until I enter 600 on the dot. That is when even on 601 is not implementing until I enter 600 on the dot, and that is why it's able to change this background color to red. And any screen from 600 downward is going to have that background color of red. So, and that is the meaning of the maximum width of 600 pixels. So what I'm saying is that, okay, any screen from 600 downward should have this background color of red, and any screen from the upward should not have it. And that is why people use minimum instead of maximum to specify this value, because it's actually confusing in nature. Let's just refresh this and see how the minimum works. So minimum is not going to have the design until it actually reaches 600 pixels. It reaches 600 pixels upward. So this is when the design is going to take place. But when it's coming right down, it's not just going to have them. So we know what we want. We don't want minimum, we actually want maximum. So this is now what we want to do. So we are not going to change this background color. We are not really doing this. I'm just using an example. So what we want to do is that these two box, when they reach 600 pixel screen downward, instead of them being in two pair like this, we want them to go ahead and straight up and line up or be on top of each other. So instead of lining up, we want them to be on top of each other, and that is when the usefulness of the div dot container and section with a class of, I think, main content. So div with a class of container, section of main content. This is what we are doing right here. That is very important. So the first thing we want to have flex direction to be row column. Now it was row before, because if you go back right here, you are going to see that the flex direction is row. Then right here we are changing it to column. Then we are going to be selecting this guy, the two of them, this one with the class of container stuff. So this class of container of a thing of text, the width, that's the only thing we are going to specify. It's going to be 100%. Then we can grab the box up to, the box is also going to be width of 100%, and that is how responsive can actually take place. So at media query only screen, a maximum width of 600 pixels, they are going to implement this also called for us. Let's refresh this. So let's just go ahead and dive this in. So you realize that when I'm on a larger screen of 900 pixels upward, it's giving me, putting them in a kind of direction of row. So this one is being on its own, this one is being on its own. So if I try to shrink this down, once I reach 600 pixels downward, they are now lining up on top of each other, and each of them is actually having a separate design even to the end of the screen. So, and this is what we call responsive, because they have the attributes to change the style depending on the screen that they are working on. So this is some mechanism that we need to take note of. So if you say 600 pixels, it actually means small phone. It actually means for phone. So 600 pixels actually means for phone. So 700 plus, or let me say 760, something like that, it's mean for tab. 1000 I think it's on 24, something like that. 1004 1000 or 4, like that. It actually means for 1000 actually means for system, or for what's it called, for laptop. Can just put for laptop, like that. So all this screen, and this on 300 pixels is for a very small phone. So small phone, a very small phone. So that is just how it works. That's the mechanism behind the responsive. So now that we have a responsive template, we can go ahead and start our design based on some kind of attribute that we have. So we have a responsive template. If you try to select from each phone, so this is how they are going to be, the website is going to view on iPhone 7, 8 and 6, iPad. So this is how it's going to view on iPad, because iPad is 768. So that's why I said anything like tab, it's 700 plus, so it's 768 That's the width. And if you are choosing what's it called, if you are choosing some kind of small phone, some small phones are 414, like iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8. If you try to choose ipad pro is 1024, as you can see. So these are for ipad, 1024 for ipad pro, like that. So this is why this is very very important. Let's see laptop. So this is for laptop. So laptop is 1440. So but yet you can still see on laptop and also on ipad pro, it's viewing the same thing. It's just that the screen is different. So we have a very responsive template. Let's just go ahead and manipulate some stuffs and get to know how we ought to do things. Another thing I want to implement is that when we enter the 600 pixel screen upward, I want to select the class of navbar to have a display of nav. So we can have a section with a class of navbar. So we just have to have a display of none, so which means we want it to disappear on those screens. So we want to replace something else with it. So if I refresh this now, so we can go ahead and put it back on responsive, and we no longer have the blue right here. So we no longer have the blue on small screen, on smaller screen. We only have it on a very on a bigger one. Let me refresh this. I don't like the viewports. Should be 100. Okay, so you can see it's actually disappeared. We no longer have it. So in order to implement what's supposed to be there when this is not actually available, we can just create another section and give it class of navbar minimize. So I'm just trying to write mini, like that, minimize mini. So class of navbar mini is not going to have anything down. It's going to have a div, a class that's going to say stroke, and inside it we are going to have a div. So we call it this one stroke parent. So inside this guy we are going to have a div which is a class of stroke. So each of them is going to be stroke, Ctrl V. We just want 3 of it. So what we have right here is also a class power mini. Then we have stroke parent, stroke. Let's just go ahead and design these on a very bigger screen. So we'll see what is up with this class of stroke. So it's a very long way. Deal with the class of container section, with the class of navbar mini. So that is what we want to have. At first, this one needs to have some property that is similar to this. So the width they are going to be working on is actually, it's 600. It's just width of 100 pixels and the height of the same. Then the display of this one is going to be in a flex, display of flex, and the flex flow of this one is going to be in a row. So every content that is going to be there, you want it to be in a row, like that. So this is okay, like this. Then class of mini, we want to select div with the class of stroke. I told you we are going to write a lot of bunch of codes when it comes to responsive. Div the class of mini, the class of stroke. This is not bad. So right here, what we just want to do, we want to give it a background color of transparent, and I don't actually want any padding here. Padding of is 0, and also I want to maintain a margin of 0.2 for it, just to make sure things works really well and really cool. So this is going to take us a very long way to. So class of stroke parent, so sorry, this one should be stroke parent and the other one should be stroke, based on what we specify right here. Based on this that we specify stroke parents, then stroke. Good. This is class of stroke. So all this one want to have is just a background color of, let's give it white. Then we also want to have a width of 25 pixels, 25 pixels, a height of 10 pixels. If it's not even too much, then we just want to have background color of 5 pixels and a margin within them of maybe 3 pixels, so nothing much like that. Let's refresh this. So this is what we got. This is just what we have, and the reason why we have this is too big, I know. So the height of this guy, let's give this a background color of red to see what we have, what we are doing. Okay, it's just staying right there. How many of you do we have here in a row? And that's the only, guys. Also, is it because I give this view of flex? Let's see, let me comment this guy out. We still need it, obviously. So this is what I want, this is what I want to show, this is what I want to show. No bad. So this is what we have, these three guys. So I need to bring down their height. I just want to bring down the height. The height is too much, so like 5 pixels. The width is okay. The width is alright, the width is okay and alright, which is not real bad. So let me bring up this guy. So the class of stroke parents, so we want to give it a width over 50%, because we are still going to have, this is stroke parents, we are still going to have another div right here with class of title, or we call it the name. You can just throw an h1 tag that say, okay, my website. Then right from here we can put type padding of 0 and a margin of 0. That's just something to always embed with what's it called. So this is it. We have these two class now, these boys and this title we have. Then this one is not having color. Let's just go ahead and pick this div of class of title right here. So class of title right here. So the way we select this stroke parents, we need to go ahead and select the title like that in class of title. So we just want to have color of white, and this is alright, so alright, color of white, for Christ's sake. Let's see, class of section meaning div dot stroke. No, it's not stroke title, it's just ordinary title, the class of title. Okay, my website this like that. So all this class of mini, we need, you ought to have a display of none. So it's not showing, just having the display of none. Okay, so on a bigger screen it's not showing, it's having a display of none. And when we enter into a responsive class, we can just go ahead and select it. Okay, deal with the class of container and deal with the class of nav bar mini. It should just go ahead and have a display of flex. So flex should bring it up online. Is it flex? Sorry, blog. What am I saying? Flex. Cause I feel like it should be flex. Or what do you think, guys? Okay, let's check this on our responsive now. It's not even showing yet on what's called. So let's just give it a display of block. Let's give it a display of block. I'm not seeing it, not yet. Maybe there is some complication while selecting it. So class of navbar mini display of none, container section dot div I selected. I'm used to div, so section is just another way of making my code cleaner. So of flex, let's refresh these guys. Okay, this is not bad, this is not really bad. So you can see when we are on a bigger screen, the navbar mini is hidden. The original navbar, which we have not yet specified anything, it showed up. But when we come to a very smaller screen like this, go ahead and pop up itself and everything is looking fine. So let's remove this background color of red so that we can have a very better design. Coding it sweet, it just take time. That's what I'm saying. Everything is not about rush, it just take time. We need to really slow down. So look at this now. Look at what we've got. Look at what we've got. Look at what we've got. This is beautiful. This is nice because we are having a responsive website right here. So it's gone. Then anybody using small screen can use our website. So instead of the menu should just pop up or show up, you can just click this bar, then the menu will show up. And this is not going to work for now because we are going to embed JavaScript, our jQuery, before it starts working. But just for a sake, I just wanted to visualize this now. So maybe the height we are giving them here, it should be auto, and that is where the value is supposed to be. I only specify the height because this is an empty element, no elements to give it a default height. So now that when we give it the height of auto, everything really looks nice. So the width is too small. I can try to increase the width a bit right here. Where is it? With the width that my stroke, auto stroke, line of stroke. Okay, I can just put it on 30. On 30 will be alright. So refresh this. So this is not bad. Maybe I should put it 35. Or is it the screen I'm using that is this is nice now. So you can see when we use iPhone, our websites view nicely. When we try to use Nokia N9, it's nice. Galaxy, it's nice. BlackBerry, it's nice. Kindle is actually bigger, so it's going to show up the whole page. Then we can have this. We can just do this like that. So we can have iPhone X Plus and everything like that. You can just put it like iPhone 6, everything is fine. So this is how it's just a template that we have not actually initialized a design yet. So this really take a lot of time to design a responsive. So the assignment I'm going to give is that I've created this responsive for you. So just go, I'm going to wrap up this code for you. I'm going to send this code to you along with the video. So just go ahead and try to study it, study every of the sequence, what I do, the things that actually implement, which is not really hard as you thought it is because all this design is just a new kind of a new design that I just put in so that you can on a particular screen. This is what I'm doing, this is what I'm trying to implement on this kind of particular screen. So this is just too nice for us, this is just too good for us. So do your classwork, view it to me, then when you are done with this, trust me, if you are able to undo a responsive website like this, then you are done with HTML and CSS. So we can move to JavaScript, and from JavaScript you can start your mobile application and start learning. It's alright, thank you, have a nice day.